Homelessness in America has reached levels that can no longer be ignored. Walk down the streets of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, or even smaller towns across the country, and you will see people living in tents, sleeping in doorways, and carrying their entire lives in bags. This is not just a big city problem. It touches rural towns, suburbs, and middle America. It is not limited to one group of people. Families, veterans, the elderly, and young adults all find themselves caught in the web of homelessness. At its simplest, homelessness means not having a safe and stable place to live. But in reality, it is much more complicated. For one person, it might mean sleeping on a park bench. For another, it could mean living out of a car. Families may move from motel to motel, never knowing where they will stay next week. Teenagers might rely on couch surfing, moving from one friend's home to another. However it looks, homelessness robs people of stability and peace. It creates a constant struggle for survival. Why is homelessness such a crisis in one of the richest nations on earth? A big reason is the cost of housing. In many cities, rents have skyrocketed beyond what working families can afford. Wages have not kept pace with these rising costs. For someone earning minimum wage, there is no state in America where they can afford a modest two-bedroom apartment without working extreme hours. Families often spend more than half of their income just to keep a roof over their heads. If anything goes wrong, a medical emergency, a lost job, or a broken-down car, they can quickly fall behind on rent. One eviction can lead directly to homelessness, and once a person is evicted, landlords are less willing to rent to them again. Shelters are supposed to provide temporary relief, but the truth is, they are not enough. Many shelters are overcrowded and cannot keep up with demand. Families may be split apart, with men, women, and children placed in separate facilities. Safety is another concern. People often report theft, violence, and poor conditions inside shelters. Because of this, many people choose to stay in tents or on the streets, even if it means braving the cold, the rain, and the dangers of being outside. For them, a tent may feel safer than a crowded shelter. Mental health and addiction are also closely tied to homelessness. Many people experiencing homelessness struggle with depression, schizophrenia, or PTSD. Without treatment and support, these conditions worsen. Living on the streets makes it nearly impossible to maintain medical appointments or access consistent care. Addiction is another factor. Some people lost their homes because of substance use. But for many, life on the streets pushed them toward drugs or alcohol as a way to cope with the pain, cold, and hopelessness of their situation. Without affordable rehab or health care, recovery is nearly impossible. The criminal justice system adds another layer of difficulty. When people are released from prison or jail, they often have nowhere to go. With no housing, no income, and limited job opportunities, many end up homeless. On the other side, being homeless itself often leads to arrest. Many cities have laws against sleeping in public spaces, setting up tents, or loitering. Homeless individuals are fined for simply existing in public spaces, fines they cannot pay. These unpaid tickets often lead to warrants and jail time, trapping people in a cycle that is nearly impossible to escape. One of the most visible signs of homelessness today is the rise of tent encampments. These are not small clusters of people. They are entire communities of tents lined along sidewalks, under highways, and in public parks. Some encampments stretch for blocks and house hundreds of people. They lack sanitation, running water, and electricity, creating unsafe and unhealthy conditions. Yet, for many, these camps provide a sense of community. People in tent cities often share food, watch over each other's belongings, and form bonds of survival. Unfortunately, cities frequently clear these encampments, throwing away people's belongings and forcing them to start over somewhere else. Families with children face some of the hardest challenges. Imagine being a child who does not know where they will sleep tonight. Many homeless families spend nights in motels, in cars, or in shelters if they can find space. The constant moving makes it difficult for children to attend school consistently. Teachers often notice children arriving tired, hungry, or unable to concentrate. Growing up without stability leaves deep scars, affecting mental health, education, and future opportunities. No child should have to face this reality, yet thousands do every single day. Veterans make up a large portion of the homeless population. After serving their country, many return with injuries, both physical and emotional. Post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and difficulties adjusting to civilian life can push veterans into homelessness. While programs exist to help, they are often underfunded or slow to provide support. It is a painful reality that men and women who once wore the uniform now sleep on the very streets they fought to protect. Young people are another vulnerable group. Thousands of teens and young adults experience homelessness each year. Many are LGBTQ youth rejected by their families. Others flee abusive homes. Without resources or support, they face the dangers of exploitation, trafficking, and violence. These young people often go unseen, couch surfing or sleeping in hidden places. For them, every day is about survival, not planning for a future. The economic cost of homelessness is massive. Cities spend billions each year on emergency services, police patrols, and hospital visits for people experiencing homelessness. Businesses suffer in neighborhoods with large encampments, as customers often avoid those areas. Taxpayers end up covering the costs of emergency responses that do not solve the root issue. Ironically, studies show that providing permanent housing is often cheaper in the long run. Housing reduces hospital visits, lowers crime, and gives people the stability they need to rebuild their lives. One solution that has gained attention is called Housing First. This approach provides stable housing without requiring people to first overcome addiction or prove they are ready. Once housed, people are more likely to seek medical care, find jobs, and address personal challenges. Studies show this approach not only helps people, but also saves money. Housing is not just shelter. It is the foundation for rebuilding a life. Of course, housing alone is not enough. America needs more mental health services, more addiction treatment programs, and more job opportunities. Prevention is also crucial. Helping families with rental assistance, enforcing laws against unfair evictions, and ensuring wages match the cost of living can prevent homelessness before it begins. The best solution to homelessness is to stop it from happening in the first place. Community organizations and charities play a vital role in supporting those experiencing homelessness. From soup kitchens to outreach teams, volunteers provide food, clothing, and care. While these efforts bring relief, they cannot solve the crisis on their own. Homelessness is too big and too complex for charity alone. It requires coordinated action from government at every level. At the center of this issue is compassion. How do we view people who are homeless? Do we see them as a nuisance, or do we see them as human beings with dignity, stories, and struggles? It is easy to walk past someone on the street and ignore them, but each person we see has a history, a family, and dreams that were derailed by circumstances beyond their control. Homelessness is a test of America's values. Does the nation believe that housing is a basic human right? Does it believe that no child should grow up without stability? Does it believe that veterans deserve more than a life on the streets? These are the questions every community must ask itself. In the end, homelessness is not just about poverty. It is about dignity, hope, and the right to belong. Every person deserves a safe place to sleep at night. Every person deserves the chance to rebuild their life. Until that becomes reality, homelessness will remain one of the deepest wounds of America. The question is whether the country has the will to heal it.